Here's a number that floored me when I first saw it. 102,000. That's how many people moved from California to Texas in a single year. And I get it. Texas has no state income tax. Housing looks cheaper on Zillow. Everyone on social media is talking about the California exodus like it's the greatest financial move of the 21st century. But here's what nobody's actually doing, and I mean nobody, is running the complete math. Every single number. Not just the rent, not just the tax savings. When I did, the answer was not what I expected. Before I get into the numbers, I want to be clear about something. I'm not here to tell you Texas is bad. I'm not here to tell you California is great. I'm here to give you the actual math so you can make a real decision, not one based on a social media trend. Because right now, people are making six-figure financial decisions, selling their homes, pulling their kids out of school, packing up their entire lives based on incomplete information. And that's going to cost some of them dearly. If this is the kind of content you want, real data, no agenda, hit subscribe and drop a comment below telling me which state you're thinking about leaving. Now let's get into it. Let's start with why 102,000 Californians moved to Texas last year. Because the case is real. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. The average California household is paying $2,376 a month in housing costs. That's rent or mortgage, utilities, property taxes, and insurance, all bundled together. According to a UC Berkeley study that tracked real households over nearly a decade, people who left California and moved to Texas, they averaged $1,705 a month in housing costs. That's a saving of $672 every single month. That's $8,000 a year just sitting back in your pocket. And it's not just cheaper, you get more. The family from San Jose I read about sold their Bay Area home for $1.2 million. They bought a 5-bedroom house with a pool in Phoenix for less than half that price. Their monthly mortgage dropped by nearly 40%. Then there's the income tax. California's top marginal rate is 12.3%. Texas, 0. For someone making $100,000 a year, that's potentially $8,000 to $15,000 in your pocket annually, depending on deductions. And here's something the UC Berkeley data showed that really surprised me. People who left California were 48% more likely to own a home 7 years after their move than people who stayed. That's the California dream, just being lived out in Texas. So the case for moving? It's legitimate, but we're only halfway through the math, and this is where it gets uncomfortable. What they don't tell you is what I'm about to show you. Hidden cost number 1, Texas car insurance. I cannot stress this enough. Between 2020 and 2025, Texas car insurance premiums rose 61%. That is the largest state-level increase in the entire country. The average Texan is now paying $2,964 a year for full coverage. Think about that. You saved $8,000 on housing. You just gave $3,000 of it back to your insurance company before you've paid a single bill. Hidden cost number 2, the toll road trap. Austin, beautiful city, booming economy, and one of the most aggressive toll road systems in America. The Mopac Express Lane, that's the main highway cutting through Austin, has peak pricing that hits $8 to $12 for a single trip. It changes every 5 minutes based on traffic. In October 2025, that one road set an all-time revenue record, nearly $3 million in a single month, up 36% year over year. If you're a regular commuter in Austin, you are realistically looking at $150 to $400 a month in tolls. That's up to $4,800 a year. You saved $8,000 on housing. You just lost $3,000 to insurance and potentially another $4,800 to tolls. We're down to $200 in savings, and we're not done. Hidden cost number 3, property taxes. Here's the one that catches people completely off guard. Texas has no income tax. We established that. But the state has to pay for schools, roads, and infrastructure somehow. Texas property taxes are among the highest in the country. If you buy a $400,000 home in the Dallas suburbs, you could be paying $7,000 to $9,000 in property taxes every single year. That is not in the Zillow listing price. That is not in the mortgage calculator. That is a bill that shows up in the mail. Compare that to someone who moved to North Carolina instead. Same $400,000 home, but the effective property tax rate is about half of Texas. And North Carolina's car insurance? among the cheapest in the country at around $1,764 a year, about $1,200 less than Texas. Hidden cost number 4, summer utilities. Now, Texas summers are hot, but compared to Phoenix or Las Vegas, actually manageable. Phoenix gets over 115 degrees in peak summer. Running AC through that heat pushes electric bills to $300 to $450 a month. The biggest units can hit $700 in peak months. That's $3,000 to $5,000 extra per year just to stay cool. Austin is hot too, but Austin Energy is a municipal utility with capped rates. Your summer bills are real, but they're not Phoenix real. This matters if you're considering Arizona as an alternative to Texas. The housing might look cheaper until you run the AC math. Okay, let's put it all together. I want to give you an honest scorecard. For someone earning $100,000 a year, moving from San Francisco to Austin, you save roughly $8,000 on housing costs annually. You save potentially $8,000 to $10,000 in state income tax. You spend an extra $1,200 on car insurance compared to the national average. You spend potentially $3,000 to $4,800 on tolls. You pay higher property taxes, potentially $3,000 to $5,000 more than comparable states. Net result? You are genuinely better off financially, but not by the $20,000 a year figure that gets thrown around on social media. More like $7,000 to $12,000, depending on exactly where you land and how you commute. Now here's where it gets more interesting. Compare that to moving from California to North Carolina instead. North Carolina has a state income tax, but it's a flat 4.5%. So on $100,000, you're paying $4,500, not zero. But your car insurance is $1,200 cheaper than Texas. Your property taxes are half. Your toll roads are minimal. The math for North Carolina comes out surprisingly close to Texas, and in some lifestyle categories, it actually wins. Which is exactly why North Carolina has been a top 3 inbound state every single year since 2020. So who does this move make the most sense for? Let me be specific. If you earn over $150,000 a year, the income tax savings in Texas become enormous. At that income level, the no income tax advantage over California widens by another $3,000 to $6,000 beyond what I just calculated. The math gets significantly better the higher your income. If you're a remote worker who can choose where you live and you're currently paying California rent, you are leaving real money on the table. The housing savings alone are life-changing. If you're a retiree on a fixed income, Texas property taxes could actually hurt you. Florida and North Carolina may serve you better, depending on your situation. And here's the warning I want to leave you with. The California to Texas pipeline is so well known now that the people who moved early got the deal. Austin's rent actually peaked and fell 20% from 2022 to 2025 because so many apartments were built. But in some of the more desirable suburbs, prices are still running up because so many people are moving there at once. Moving late in an inbound migration cycle means you're competing with 100 other people for the same house and paying prices driven up by everyone who moved before you. The time to get the deal was 2021. The next opportunity is in the cities that haven't blown up yet, and that's a whole other video. Here's my takeaway. Moving from California to Texas is a real financial upgrade for the right person at the right income level. But it's not the slam dunk that social media makes it out to be. The hidden costs, insurance, tolls, property taxes, eat into those savings more than almost anyone factors in. Run the complete math, not just the headline number. If you want more information, the good and the bad, for your next big purchase, check out the video below.